Today's tips are all about money. Let me go ahead and give you the phone lines. I hope you know them already. Just in case you have any questions, 502-571-5263 and also 1-888-800-9283. I know they'll put them on the screen in a little bit. Rachel Richards, big, huge thank you for joining us. Best-selling author of Money Honey. And also the other book that you did, name your books.
So Money Honey is the first one, and
Right.
then Passive Income, Aggressive Retirement.
That's what it was, Passive Income. We did a story on that, and also Money Honey. And what got me when I first met you, you said, I'm retired. I was like, you're like half my age. How do you retire? You did it. Explain how you retired and how that happened.
So we started creating something called passive income, which is money that is earned with little to no ongoing effort. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it is no get-rich-quick scheme. It takes time or money to create. So in 2017, my husband and I bought our first rental property, and later that year, I launched my first best-selling book, Money Honey. So we had these two passive income streams, rental income and royalty income, and we focused on growing those as much as we could over the next few years. So fast forward to today, we now have almost 40 rental units, and I have now 2 best-selling books. And those bring in anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 per month in passive income.
And so for you, you thought, well, I've done my work, I'm done. So you had a chance. You just had a second edition of Money Honey there that is just released. So I hear you say passive income. It takes a little bit to get that started, though. First step is what?
I would say the first step is to think about, do you have more time or more money? Because it will take one or the other or both to create passive income. Now, if you're anything like I was a few years ago, you would have said, I have neither. So the next step to ask yourself is, which one will be easier to create? Will it be easier for you to free up more time or to create more money so that you can start building that passive income stream?
I would think the passive money, or maybe not, should it be something that you enjoy, or are you just saying, let me get to this so I can build up the finances?
Yeah, I would say not necessarily. So the rental income, for example, I'm passionate about it for what it does for me, but I've never wanted to create some huge rental empire. For me, it's more of a means to an end, and we have that income coming in so that we can do other things that we love to do.
Yeah, you say means to an end, because when I think about it, and I have thought about it before, I don't see myself being a landlord. In today's world, I don't even think I would want to be a landlord. So once you get things going, did you kind of put that responsibility on somebody else? Because that can be pretty hard.
It can be, and we self-managed at first, and then we've gone back and forth having a property manager or not. Right now, we're actually self-managing mostly from long distance because we are in Colorado now. So we're self-managing our properties here. For things that we really need somebody we trust to help us out with, I have family in town that's helping, but if we didn't have that, we would definitely have a property manager.
All right, so if you were to tell somebody the biggest misconceptions that you see on money, it would be what? My grandmother would always say, you pay yourself first. And I would argue with her, I don't have an extra $5 to have. I don't have this. I always found reasons why not to do it. But what misconceptions?
I think there's a misconception that if you have a full-time job or you're a salaried employee, that means that you have job security and income security. And that's a misconception, because if you're 100% dependent on a single source of income, there's nothing secure about that. And we've seen that this year, right? What happens when you lose your job or your hours get cut? So that's where this concept of income diversification comes into play. If you can have multiple sources of income, then if you lose one income stream, you'll be covered because you have all this other money coming in to keep you afloat.
Yeah, a lot of people, even just regular jobs, you think, oh, I'm okay. You know, this job is not going to go away. Well, here comes a pandemic we haven't seen in over 100 years, and we're all having a tougher time. When it comes to, I guess, saving for retirement, even, because there are a lot of folks watching and they're close to retirement or maybe even in retirement. Even that can go wrong. I can't remember when in the 80s, but I lost half of my retirement to something that just went crazy in the stock market, and I carry that fear around with me. How do you keep that going and watch what's going on and even safeguard your money?
Oh, it's definitely mentally very tough. So if we just think about this year, for example, I mean, the Dow was at an all-time high in February. It was over 29,000. And then in March, at its lowest point, it was under 19,000. So my husband and I think our portfolios dropped by about 20%. It was pretty significant. But the good news is just earlier this month in September, the Dow went back up over 29,000. So it's really rebounded well. That's not to say it's not going to go back down. I'm sure it'll continue to be a roller coaster. But I think the best thing to do is not do anything. Try not to react at all. You don't want to go into a panic and sell all of your stocks when the market's at a low. That's not what you want to do. So try not to look at it, try not to react. If anything, just keep consistently making those investments.
You know, I look at you and you are so young, and finances is not something that all of us know so much. When did you get interested in finances? Like, what brought you here to write books that are best-selling about how to do your best when it comes to a financial life?
So my earliest memory is actually in 6th grade, and I was a nerd. I'm still a nerd to this day. And I remember going to this summer camp, and I found this book. It was like Motley Fool's Guide for Teens, How to Have More Money Than Your Parents Ever Dreamed of, something like that. And I was like, that sounds great. So I remember being at summer camp, all my friends going down water slides, and I was sitting at the edge of this pool reading this book. And it really sparked a fire in me. And, you know, I had a lot of experiences growing up, working for managers, you know, in real estate that didn't treat me very well, and I just decided that I wanted to create financial independence so that I could be my own boss and work when, where, and if I want.
How do we do that? How do we get started? If you have extra money right now, a lot of people don't, but some do. If you have extra money right now, what should you be doing with it?
Right, so I know passive income sounds very exciting, but you really need to get your finances in order first. Passive income's a little more aggressive and a little bit more advanced. So you really want to make sure you have a handle on your budget and your debt and your savings and your investing. So if somebody right now in the middle of coronavirus had some extra cash on hand, here's what I would say to do in this order. Number 1, put it into your emergency savings because cash is king right now. Number 2, pay off high interest debt like credit cards. And number 3, invest it in the stock market.
And investing in the stock market, like I can't even tell you what stocks I have, to be honest, and don't chastise me, Rachel, I'm learning. How do you learn about stocks? Do you trust somebody else with your money?
So there's 3 ways you can go about it. The first way is to hire a financial advisor. You will pay more money for that, but that's okay, they're gonna help you. And then number 2 is to use a robo-advisor. So these are these apps that we're all seeing now, like Robinhood and Wealthfront, and they can sort of automate the investing for you. I always say though, try to do it on your own, because not only will you learn a lot in the process, but you'll save a lot of money in fees. But if it comes down to, you know, using a financial advisor or not investing at all, definitely use a financial advisor.
All right, we still have so much to learn. If there's something that you want to ask, you've got a question about your finances, which way to go, what to do, you crack me up because you can answer things so quickly and so easily. 502-571-5263 or 1-888-800-9283. We've got Rachel Richards for a few more minutes here. Take advantage of it. We'll be right back. We have Rachel Richards with us today. Age of 27, she retired. Income coming in that she just doesn't have to worry about these things. Can you imagine that? I know this is something that you started thinking about when you were in 6th grade, but for those of us that did not do that, first step, our true first step of what we need to sit down and look at this weekend, now if we have some time.
I would say the first step is to just start tracking your expenses. Everyone has to have a budget. You know, all financially successful people I know have a budget, so be like them. I remember the first time my husband and I started tracking our expenses. This is really embarrassing, and I feel like I shouldn't admit it because I'm supposed to be a finance guru. But the first month, we realized we spent over $900 that month just on groceries. $900.
And that doesn't mean you ate all those groceries. A lot of people buy so many groceries that they end up going bad even.
Yeah, I do that every week with spinach. It always goes into my fridge and then into the garbage. So don't do that. Don't be wasteful with the food. But that's a huge area opportunity to cut back on costs. It's just watching your restaurant budget and your grocery budget. That's the hardest part for most people, myself included.
And when you say have a budget, is it just know where your money goes, or set perimeters for yourself and say, this is what I make, I won't spend more than whatever?
So it's both. I would say track your expenses first for a month, and then you will naturally start to see areas where you can cut back. It will be very obvious, just like it was for me, and then you can put a budget into place. There's a quote by Dave Ramsey, and he said, a budget is simply telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
Oh, I love that. I really do love that. And with all the tools that are available today, I mean, being able to figure out what your budget is shouldn't be that hard. We've got a question from a caller. Becky, how can Rachel help you today?
Hi, I was listening a moment ago when Dawne asked you, Rachel, about how can you manage your money, and you gave 3 different options: have someone else do it for you, do it yourself, and I'm already forgetting the third one. But on the do it yourself, how does one get started with that? I have a 401k plan, of course, with my company, but I don't know anything about buying stocks on my own or anything. And so how do you get started?
So I would say we're lucky because we live in the internet age, and there's a lot of good information out there. So, start reading books, start trying to learn on your own. But really the first thing you got to know about investing is that there's kind of 2 camps. There's active investing and there's passive investing. And active investing is something like a mutual fund or a day trader. They're actively looking for the best stocks to put in that mutual fund so that people can get the best returns. And then there's passive investing, and these are like index funds. These automatically track to something else that already exists. So there's no manager, there's no research team picking out stocks. Now, you would think that you pay more money to invest in a mutual fund, you would think that your return is going to be a lot higher. But research has shown that passive investments perform just as well as, if not better than, mutual funds. So that's why index funds are so popular these days. Exchange traded funds, that's a type of index fund, because you're paying a lot lower fee. So that's why I always would say to get started educating yourself about active versus passive and figure out what's going to be best for you to invest for the long run.
So, and I'm not sure how much Becky knows, but when you're talking about all of that, and I'm like, okay, there I am. I'm in lost land again. We have the opportunity to have so many apps now. Are there apps that you recommend for people like Becky, for people like me that want to get that extra money or maybe begin to build more wealth? Are there apps you recommend?
Absolutely. So if it's too intimidating, which I totally get because I used to be intimidated to invest on myself, the apps will save your life. So my top 3 favorites are Wealthfront, Betterment, and Acorns. And I think it's Acorn or Acorns. But that one's really cool because the way it works is it'll round your purchase up to the nearest dollar. So if you go get a Starbucks Frappuccino and it's $4.79, it'll round that purchase up to $5, and it'll take that extra 21 cents and put it into a savings account for you. And you can set it up so that that gets invested as well. So it's automated savings, and it works really great for a lot of people.
I have never heard of that. So if you're not saving the money yourself, and somebody might think, who cares about being rounded up? You'd be amazed. My mother purchased a treadmill from money she was just throwing in a change jar. And lo and behold, it ended up to thousands of dollars. So say them again. Acorn?
Yeah, Acorn, Betterment, and Wealthfront.
All right. So we want to save more money. The Acorns, that just did one. Anything else? Like, is it okay to just put money into a jar, or should we be thinking of a better way?
Well, here's one thing that I'll say when it comes to savings. I'll ask in workshops or I'll teach and I'll say, hey, what kinds of things do you do to save money quickly? And people will say, oh, I'll eat out less, or I'll make my coffee at home, or I'll stop shopping. And all those things are really important. I noticed over time that there's a common theme there. We're all focused on decreasing our expenses. And again, we absolutely have to live within our means. But there's only so much you can do to decrease your expenses, right? You can't stop buying food, you can't stop making your mortgage payment. So if you really want to make an impact on your budget, you'll do the other option, because there's two ways to save more money. Number one, decrease your expenses. Number two, increase your income. And for some reason, we forget about this second option. But what's so great about increasing your income is that no one can stop you from making more money, right? There's no cap on how much money you can make in a year. So if you really want to save aggressively, you will do both. Decrease your expenses and increase your income.
And that could be through passive income, which is something that will continue to make money without you giving so many hours, or decide you have more hours to give to making money. Okay, see, I'm learning there. Rachel Richards is with us. What money trouble, money problems, what do you need an answer for? You know the numbers. Go ahead and give them a call, 502-5715-263. 1-888-800-9283. We're going to learn and get through this together. We'll be right back. All right, here with Rachel Richards. Again, if you have questions, the numbers are down there on your screen. Don't miss this opportunity. Your second release here of Money Honey, bestseller, and then your other book, give me the name of that one again.
Passive Income, Aggressive Retirement.
There you go. There's both the books there. We can still order those Amazon, different bookstores, right?
Yes, they're available on Amazon as ebook, paperback, and audiobook.
And you also have an online course, correct?
I do. I just started a new online course this year. It's a lot of fun. It's called Get Your Financial Bleep Together. So it's a lot of fun. You know, what I've found over the years is that we all have the knowledge, right? We all know in general to save more money and spend less money. But knowledge is nothing without execution. So I created the online course to really create an environment where you have structure and group support and accountability so that you're actually implementing the things that you're learning.
So student loans right now, a lot of them have kind of been deferred with people losing their jobs and different things like that. I remember paying off my student loan, and I was just tearful after I made that last payment, took myself out to dinner. Any suggestion on, you know, you want to get that education, but sometimes it costs. How do you pay those student loans off?
Yeah, so for students right now that are looking to pay it off aggressively, something to consider, it's not going to be right for everybody, but something to consider is student loan consolidation. And this is where if you have multiple different loan providers, you can consolidate all of those different loan payments into one single payment, so it simplifies things. But here's the catch, because a lot of people don't realize this. Some people go to consolidate their student loans, and they see that they're having a lower monthly payment, so they think, great, I'm going to save a lot of money. But in reality, that might not be what's happening, because they could have extended your term length, and that's why those monthly payments are lower. And if that's what happens, you're going to pay a lot more money in interest over the long run. So if you consolidate your loans, you want to make sure that you're getting a lower interest rate. That's the only way to save money, and stick to that original term length.
All right, then try to pay it off as soon as you can. Credit scores. You hear everything, every other commercial is about credit scores. How important is your credit score? And what do you think about the apps? They say if you just download it, you'll be able to get, 10 extra points on your credit score. Does that make a difference, and is that real?
I don't think it's real. The only way you can make a difference with your credit score is by doing certain things, making your payments on time, or if you have late payments, catching up on those payments, making sure your credit utilization is low. So if you have a $5,000 credit limit, you want to make sure you're, somewhere around from $0 to $500. That would be the maximum area to be, basically. You don't want to be using that entire credit limit of $5,000. So there's things you can do. One app that I love is Credit Karma, and it's free. It's a free platform for you to sign up. It's legit. I've used it for years. It's not always the most accurate. If you really want an accurate look at your credit score, you'll want to order one of your 3 annual credit reports from Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion.
And you can get one each year for free from each of them, is that right?
That's right. And I think what a lot of them are offering right now because of coronavirus is they're offering subscriptions where you can actually pay, but then you can get access to your credit report each week. So if you want to monitor it a little bit more, you have that option too.
And if I'm saving, because savings is important for me right now, I think, you know, retirement, I need to be doing that. But then after coronavirus, I was like, oh no, emergency fund is the most important. I mean, what are we saving for, and what's the most important savings?
Yeah, so there's a concept in Money Honey that I talk about called the savings buckets. And I created it because I was the same way, Dawne. I used to think savings was super confusing because there's all these different things we're saving for. So I created the savings bucket. So if you just envision 4 buckets, bucket number 1 is for emergency savings. And you want to have at least $1,000 set aside. That will cover most small unexpected expenses. Bucket number 2 is for medium-term savings. So these are things you're saving for within the next 12 months. And you want to put this in an online high-yield savings account where you can make a little bit more in interest. And then you also have bucket number 3, it's long-term savings. So things you're saving that are before retirement, but more than a year away. And for most people, that will include a down payment on a house, a wedding fund, money for an engagement ring, things like that. And then finally, you have bucket number 4, which is for retirement. And since for so many people that's so far off, you want to have that invested in the stock market where it can grow over time.
Not that far off for me, I don't think anymore. I'm getting older here. Kids, you know, they've got these little debit cards for kids and different things like that. Do you think that those are good? And certainly we should be teaching our little ones now so they'll end up like you.
I think as long as people are using those responsibly, they can be a great teaching tool. I know a lot of parents even will add their child as an authorized user on their credit card, which I believe you can do once your child turns 13 or older. And that's a great way to help your child build up their credit from a young age.
All right, anything that you want to make sure that we know that we've missed?
I just want to encourage everybody that it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Anyone can create passive income. Anyone can make huge financial moves and achieve financial independence.
And the time to start saving could be right now. It could be $5 or $500. All right, moneyhoneyrachel.com is where you can find her. Is your online class there as well?
It is, yes.
Okay, there you go, moneyhoneyrachel.com. And the books, all of this information can truly, really change your life. We'll come back after this.